This film that I produced and directed myself, UPROOTED, which is actually revolves around my journey in occupied Palestine in the International Women's Peace Service, and I question the different forms of resistance from non-violence to violent resistance.
One time, surrounded as I was by these great olive trees, now fallen, some had been planted more than 2,000 years ago. I forgot myself completely, and I told them straight to their face, "Wain Allah, where's Allah?" Fortunately for me, there were only women around, Palestinian peasants. My audacity, what's more my irreverence as a Muslim, worried them first. Suddenly, they stopped speaking, and they surrounded me in this field of uprooted olive trees. We sat there on the land together, quietly, honoring the last breath of life of the trees. There were no emergency exits. They were all sealed. The rest of the world seemed to expect a Zen or Buddhist attitude on the part of the Palestinians facing their death, and the Palestinians appeared resigned to collapse with their land. How far do I need to go back in history to find someone who distinguishes publicly resistance from terrorism?
It's the mass media, it's problematic, and what is more problematic is you can replace this with China and Tibet. You can replace this with US and Iraq and whatnot, but the problem with this issue in America, you can barely talk about it. It's easier to talk about American occupation of Iraq. And I think it's really problematic, and a lot of my Jewish friends agree with me too, because what happens is that we have to stop. In history, we see this pattern over and over again, where we target one group, because the powers that be want their land, want their resource, want something, the geopolitical position, whatever it is, something is wanted from them, and we target one group. Just like what happened to the Jewish people in Western Europe, particularly Germany. So this group gets targeted, all this projection of hatred, racism, and this propaganda against them, and we see where it can lead. It can lead to terrible, terrible, massacres, oppression, and whatnot. So I'm very disappointed at the way the mass media cover it here, because they're not doing anybody a favor, the Palestinian or the Israeli side. It's absolutely unbalanced.
My name is Lily Rivlin, and the name of my film is Can You Hear Me? Israeli and Palestinian Women Fight for Peace.
For Leah and the peace movement, the summer of 2004 was one of despair. Violence continued and negotiations had come to a halt once more. Yet it was against this backdrop that Leah and Maha Abu Daya agreed to meet. The two met for the first time a few months before at a seminar at Harvard for Palestinian and Israeli women peace activists.
Hi, Maha. I'm so excited that I'm going to visit with you. I really am excited about that, and I hope you're well.
As Leah heads to Maha's home, she is faced with the reality of the concrete wall that comes between them. It is her first close-up encounter with this barrier, and she is devastated.
I think it's very hard to get in-depth pieces on television. I mean, I want to make clear that I really do believe that if more women got engaged in the political process, that perhaps we would have a better chance of coming to peace.
My name is Samira Gacho, and I am the director of our own private Bin Laden.
There's a tape of Bin Laden after the Twin Towers went down where he's dining out on 9/11 and saying, and then a brother came to me and said, an aircraft has crashed into the World Trade Center. And I said, beware, hold my brother, wait one moment. As if he knows that the schedule will be that in 17 minutes the second aircraft will hit the second tower. That's sheer dining out on Time and Newsweek's coverage of what happened.
Like everyone else, I turned to the media for explanations for the terrorist attacks. But I soon found myself yet again a victim of attacks, only this time from the media itself and their constant visual assault exploiting the images of terror.
What I found in the film, that the events and the different things that contributed to creating the image of bin Laden, media is just one factor. And what I found is a web of different things that come together. And media in itself cannot do what they can do if the other elements are not there. And I think it is very easy to point finger at the media and say it is their fault. I think it's a shifting responsibility between the people and the media and the other elements that I talk in the film. And that's why the title comes Our Own Private Bin Laden. Because what I think it is as important that we as individuals and as citizens take responsibility to actually try to understand and to try to get our own information. If you look at the media and what they give, they're doing their job. Nobody twists our arms to watch CNN or NBC or CBC or ABC to say, you know, nobody's put a gun into our head. We actually have the freedom to go and check the internet. There's so many different resources for us and sources to go and find alternative information if we want. So if we decide to do it, it's our responsibility actually to do it, then we can do it.